What's this I hear about cheating in Rugby League? Welcome back to the Galaxi Scrum episode. I'm your host, Matt, and I just want to say welcome to round 11 of the Galaxi Scrum. Just a little bit of an interesting kind of thing going on within the Rugby League world. I kind of wanted to catch up on some stuff a little bit real quick. There was something interesting that happened in the Cowboys Panthers game that I actually wanted to quickly talk about. That's actually not going to be the main focus of today, but obviously I've clickbaited the title, but I did want to kind of talk about it because I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. So, apologies again. I'm still coming out of a cough, although I am basically feeling a lot better now. I feel actually pretty good. And obviously last week we had one of our longest episodes with the League, which again, League, if you are listening to this, thank you so much for coming on. Quick housekeeping stuff. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Rugby League stuff today, so hang tight. We will get into that. First of all, memberships. I have lowered the price to $1.49. Now, obviously, again, memberships are optional, so don't feel pressured to do a membership. I did want to lower the price a little bit because I did get some feedback that the price was a bit too high. So I have actually gone ahead and lowered the price. You don't have to take one, obviously, but if you want any shout outs at the beginning of my videos, Galaxy Footy videos, fixture showdowns, the podcast, obviously, you can click that join button and become a member today. Speaking of the League is actually in chat right now. And as well, if you want to have your message read, we will stop the podcast if we have a super chat on stream. And we will talk about anything that you want to talk about on the super chat. Of course, again, this is optional. Big announcement as well. And then we've got a couple of other things that I want to quickly talk about as well. Next week, we are going to be live not only on YouTube for the Galaxi Scrum, but twitch.tv Matt Galaxi as well. So guys, if you want to come and join us on Twitch, the link is twitch.tv/Matt Galaxi. I'm doing a lot more. I'm trying to get my Twitch a little bit more active as well. So guys, you can come and join us there. We actually have our own bot that we do our games with, and you can come participate in some stuff, some nerdy stuff too, which is, it may not feel very, very Rugby League, but we are working something in the background for you guys who are Rugby League supporters. Another big thing that actually happened this week for the Galaxy Footy channel as well, we hit 1,500 subscribers. Yes, absolutely outstanding. For those who have subscribed through the podcast, through any of my videos, I just want to say a massive thank you. Our next milestone is 2,000. We have something big planned for 2,000. I cannot wait to share with you what it is, but let's get to 2,000 first. That is the absolute plan. So guys, that's going to do it with the housekeeping stuff. That is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and say hello to some of the chat members. We have JLR. Hello, babe. Good to see you. Love you. Rugby02, unfortunately couldn't join us tonight, so he is unfortunately not joining us tonight. Pancake is joining us. He is also in a really good mood, so it's good to see him smiling. Oh, Rugby is here. Okay, Rugby02 is here. I don't know what the heck, but all right then. Up the Laddie Lions is also in here. Hello, Leaguey. Again, go and follow this guy's content. It's absolutely outstanding. Also, Scott Wood seems like a new person here. He's a big doggy supporter, which is really cool. And also, Rugby is watching the scrum in the car right now. Penguins has joined us as well. Welcome on in. And guys, for those who are here early, thank you so much. Today we are also going to be doing a video for Galaxy Footy within the podcast, and that is going to be the Rugby League 26 wish list that I have, which I am really keen to get back into. And honestly, that video I did for Rugby League 26 on Sunday, that is being knocked out of the park right now. That is potentially on its way to be my most successful video so far. So guys, if you have interacted with that video, thank you so much. And guys, it is good to see a lot of people excited for the new Rugby League game. And I'm on Twitter right now. For those who don't follow me on Twitter, @Galaxy Footy. I am tweeting daily now actually wondering when this new game is going to be announced. So come and follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be asking myself a couple of other questions as well. Like today, I've actually mentioned something that is going to be on the wish list, and we'll get into a bit more detail with that. But before anything begins, let's start off with the latest rounds from this week. And I'm going to quickly turn the fan on because it gets really hot in here. And actually, you know what? For those who are actually on the stream, let's actually turn down the lights for this one. Because I don't know. It looks better, if I'm being completely honest. Might have to get some water at some point. But let's get in to the weekend scores. The last weekend scores for round 10 of the NRL season. Kicking off the round was the Parramatta Eels versus the Dolphins. Dolphins won 20-16. A surprising result. The Dolphins fall back after a thriller, trailing at the first half. I believe it was like 12-6 at halftime. No, it was 6-all. It was actually 6-all, but the Dolphins did look like they were struggling a little bit, but they ended up coming back and dominating. And Herbie's try is here's the thing, is that I said this last year when the Dolphins faced the Sharks at Sharks Stadium. Hammer's try came at a really good time. Like that was a try that happened at the right time. They didn't need to dominate, but you have to get the right try at the right times. And you just get the win like really easily like that. I am saying the exact same thing for Herbie's try. Herbie's try came at a really good point of the game, and that turned the momentum back to the Dolphins, and that is how the Dolphins actually win. I believe that is also their first win in Sydney this year, so that is really cool. So it is really, really, really good. And someone has just told me to turn the lights back on because it is scary. No. Face the darkness. So Dolphins win that one. Good game. I will say, the Parramatta Eels are actually on the right way up. I actually think they were very competitive this game, and actually I thought they were dominating in some parts of the clock. Like their possession was much more. Their completion rates. But yeah, no, it was very split across the board, if I'm being completely honest. Dolphins, I think, just kind of dug in and hung in there, and that was kind of really, really good of the Dolphins to do. So fins up. So then heading on over to Newcastle Knights versus the Gold Coast Titans. Titans win 24-20. What? What the hell happened here? I just want to point out, for those who actually didn't watch the game, the halftime score was 20-6 to the Newcastle Knights. I was sure that this was going to be Dez's last game for the Gold Coast Titans, but out of nowhere, the Titans just score boom, 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 and then get all their conversions. Like, holy crap. Even with a penalty goal, the Titans still won against the Knights. That is absolutely insane. Titans definitely earned my surprise of this week. And quite honestly, that was an absolute comeback for the Titans. And honestly, this round should be dubbed comeback, because we're going to talk about a few comebacks this round as well. Someone has told me to not talk about a certain game, but we will be talking about that one, unfortunately. Then we head on over. Oh, God, I did not want to talk about this game. We head on over to a course stadium at Sydney, where the final score was 14-0 to the Brisbane Broncos. Is what I would say if the Rabbitohs didn't come back in the second half and win 22-14. Brisbane, what are you doing? Like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like they said in that Your Mates video, I think it's called Your Mates, I'm not sure. There's a channel I've been watching, and there was a video, like a parody of the entire game. And I was just like, I have to find it now because it's actually good. The Mates, go follow the Mates on Instagram. They're absolutely funny blokes. But yeah, Latrell Mitchell, as they say, is the GOAT. And quite honestly, even though that really stings for me to say, that was definitely one of the worst games for the Brisbane Broncos to date so far. Just absolutely atrocious from the Broncos in that second half. First half wasn't too bad, but even at halftime, I was like, I was not confident in that lead at all. Why are you telling me what the heck? Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Really? Yeah. Yeah. Pancake. Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. We'll get into those games. That's the second comeback game of the entire. And also, I just want to point out all three of these games that had comebacks were all in a row. You had the Titans v the Knights, they came back. You had Rabbitohs v the Broncos, the Rabbitohs came back. And then you get into this game, the Raiders versus the Bulldogs. At halftime was 20-0 to the Canberra Raiders. You know what the final score was? It was 20-32 against for the Bulldogs. What is this round of tipping? Like, seriously, I am like, if you are not, by the way, if you are tipping really well in this season of Rugby League, you are a liar. Like, there is no way you can pinpoint form in this season. We're actually like we're over a third of the season done now. And oh my God, I still don't know who is a contender and who isn't. Yeah, that's, yeah, I'm not going to show the photo, Pancake, because I've got to do some, I got to get the flow rolling. And the funny thing is, yeah, there is a lot of tries to the Bulldogs there. And Stephen Crichton, holy crap, he was very good for that game. And quite honestly, the Bulldogs fans should be very excited for the future going forward. Speaking of more upsets, I think, we have the Dragons versus the Warriors. Dragons go into the halftime 4-14, and the final score is 14-15 to the New Zealand Warriors. An almost upset, although I believe the Dragons were actually favourites to win this game, if I recall correctly, because they seem to always do well at Wynn Stadium. So quite interesting. Valentine Holmes had a shocker for conversions, if I'm being completely honest. And he also had a shocker in terms of 1-point field goals. So, yeah, that is a bit of a shocker. But Warriors get another win. I'm pretty sure they are now on the second. They are now on second on the top of the ladder. That top four. Oh, my God. I think Storm is the only expected one to be there. But the rest of them were not expected to be up there. Holy crap. Then, for the first time in 2025... we have our first draw, 30-30 between the Cowboys and the Panthers. And we're going to talk about something that happened in this game shortly because there was some interesting stuff. But oh my God, the amount of attempts that the Cowboys had during this game to do field goals and botched every single one of them. The amount, you know how many shots Penrith took during Golden Point? 1. Do you know how many shots Cowboys took? 4. Two 2-pointers, two 1-pointers. Now I believe one of those was just before before full time. Yes, Scott Drinkwater missed a 2-point field goal. But yeah, a lot of people did not like that game, and quite honestly, I think a lot of people were a bit confused. Yeah, Todd Smith. Yeah, oh my God, Todd Smith. Yeah, a lot of people were not happy about that game, if I'm being completely honest. But we are going to talk about that game shortly because, honestly, something interesting quite happened in that game. But also, is it technically cheating? And then, oh my goodness, we moved all the way down to Melbourne. And we have the Melbourne Pappenhausen versus the West Tigers. I just want to point out before I read the scoreline, because you guys already know what the scoreline is. First of all, Tiger season's done, so there you go. Ryan Pappenhausen scored 4-8, 12, 16 points in terms of tries. And then on top of that, he scored 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. Ryan Pappenhausen outscored every single team in the competition in that round except Melbourne. Like, holy crap. By the way, the final score was 64-0. that was absolutely atrocious from the West Tigers. I think, honestly, Storm needed a win after last week because, honestly, they really needed that win. I think what happened was a Magic round last week and they lost to the Raiders, which, honestly, the Storm, oh my God, they have just rocketed themselves to premiership favourites. If they haven't been already, they already were, but I'm pretty sure no one can beat the Storm this year. Like, come on. And the final game of the... Oh, and actually, one more thing. Melbourne Storm are my best team for this week, and my West Tigers... sorry. You guys almost had me slip there. The West Tigers are my worst team for this week. I think that was pretty self-explanatory. And the MVP for this week is definitely Ryan Pappenhausen. Honestly, that is absolutely really, really cool. Also, notable shout out to Harry Grant. I think around the last try of the game, Harry Grant points to Craig Bellamy and goes, just smile, because he just doesn't smile. And then the final game of the round, Sea Eagles versus Sharks. Halftime was 0-14. Sea Eagles then go ahead and score some points, but then a late search to the Sharks, 30-14. And obviously, I think that is raising some red flags for Manly right now. My final tip count for this one was I got the Warriors correct. I got technically the draw correct, but I actually don't count those. I got Storm correct. I didn't think it would be that margin. So I only technically got 2. If you want to count the draw, 3. So honestly, a bit of a crazy round, if I'm being completely honest. Scott Wood got 4 out of 8. I'm reading the chat right now. So tell me, guys, what were your tips rounds results this week? Someone got 5 out of 8. Rugby got 5 out of 8, which is insane. Who got what? And honestly, might go to Tigers v South, just down the road. Honestly, if you are tipping well this year, I'd like to know your secret. Because honestly, this season has been absolutely hard to pinpoint. Like, oh my godness. Like, really. Like, how can you pinpoint this? Also, another breaking news story before we get into the news. The Vegas teams have been announced for 2026. And those teams are the Newcastle Knights versus the Cowboys. That is the second game. And the first game is the Dragons versus the Bulldogs. I'm just going to be honest. Pancake says he got 8 out of 8, which I completely doubt, honestly. I've got a bit of doubt there if I'm being completely honest with you right now, Pancake. And honestly, yes, I do say honestly a lot. Before anyone asks, I apologize for that. Just tip how your gut tells you to tip, and it's a bit of a dummy with it. Fair enough. But yeah, the Vegas teams have been announced, which is quite interesting. I'm a bit surprised to see Newcastle and Dragons there, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like Storm and Dolphins should have had a case to actually come to the 2026 Vegas. But yeah, it's quite weird. I mean, Kalen Ponga can probably headline that, and Stephen Crichton, but like, just I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Knights and the Dragons going to Vegas next year. Anyway, I am going to quickly just go get some water because I really make sure that I should have been more prepared. I apologize. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. All right. Alrighty, all right, here we go. So, to the news articles for this week. Well, actually, no, we're only going to cover the one news articles. First of all, we have breaking news. Manly have, actually, double breaking news. First of all, the Cheese, Brandon Smith, has joined the Rabbitohs on a 3-year deal, if I recall correctly. So the South Sydney Rabbitohs have gotten Brandon Smith's signature, and he will be on for 2026 and 2027, which he already was, but he will also be returning this year, 2025, for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, which honestly, by the time he comes back, he will be playing potentially his rivals, the Sydney Roosters, which who even likes the Roosters anyway? Ooh, sorry, couldn't resist. You guys keep putting me in Roosters jerseys. What do you guys expect? You just put me in Roosters jerseys. I start to hate the Roosters a lot more, you know. Anyway, so Brandon Smith is signed on for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and then also shortly before the stream started, Jamal Fogarty has been signed by the Manly Warringah Seagulls. It was probably the worst kept secret in the entire competition, but Jamal Fogarty will be going to Manly Seagulls starting next year on a 3-year deal. Absolutely outstanding for the Seagulls. A good signing. We did talk about this in a previous podcast, and it's kind of exciting for the Seagulls, if I'm being completely honest, because now they've replaced a experienced half in Daly Cherry Evans with an even not as inexperienced, but someone who's getting there. So now the question is, who plays 6, who plays 7? Luke Brooks plays 7, or does Jamal Fogarty play 7? That is some questions to that. Excuse me. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about, this is probably only going to be a very short video, a short part of the podcast, because quite honestly, it is interesting. But let's read some comments first from the actual live stream itself. Apparently, I have Nathan Cleary on my fantasy team, and he has got 400 plus points. Damn, that's a lot. I don't know if that's actually a lot. I think that because I'm doing Super Coach, he only gets a lot when he does really well. And quite honestly, I think he's been not having it's been weird. It's been weird seeing Penrith play the way they have, if I'm being honest. But yeah, to answer Pancakes, I do fantasy. I was going to do a Super Coach comp this year, but we didn't get a lot of interest. Lucas Hardy says, congratulations, Cheese. I think it's a good signing for Souths. We already talked about that. I don't like the Roosters, a lot of you are saying. Penrith Panthers are just having a non-existent this week. Well, yeah, they're facing the bye, of course. Doggies need to get off the blocks quick this Friday night. Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. And I've actually got, I'll talk about that game when we actually get to the tips and predictions. But let's get into probably what the title of this podcast is: cheating in rugby league. Are the trainers of the Penrith Panthers spraying water on the ball? So this is what happened. Apparently what happened was there was a trainer. I don't remember his name, unfortunately, because I don't follow the trainers' names. I feel like that's quite silly. But apparently there is a video online of a Penrith Panthers trainer wetting the ball, and then giving it to, I think, Dylan Edwards. Now, obviously, wetting a ball obviously makes the ball a lot wet, and it kind of like slips. Like, it can actually make it so it's almost like wet weather footy. But I also found out there was another video, I believe this was in the same game, of a Cowboys trainer doing the exact same thing. So, do I think this is against the rules? I don't think it is against the rules. But I do believe it is not in the spirit of the game. So someone has actually just told me on chat, it is Shane Efford for the Panthers that did this. I don't recall who did it for the Cowboys, but it was both teams. It was both teams that did do it. I think Penrith's trainer has actually been caught red-handed. The Cowboys trainer, there is video, but I don't know where it is. Hold on. I know Cowboys would like, yeah, here we go. So apparently there was also a twist in the wedding drama as wow, that sounds really bad out of context. So apparently the Cowboys So the Cowboys trainer was actually busted by Todd Smith, who was the ref. So that was quite interesting. So I'm gonna put this a question to the chat right now and we'll read the comments shortly after. Do you guys think this is cheating or just bad sportsmanship? Or do you think it's like, who cares? Like, it's quite interesting. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that one. And quite honestly, in my opinion, I see how it can be a problem, but I don't think it would be very impactful, I guess. I would say the least. Like, if the ground is getting wet, obviously if it's raining on the field, obviously, like, the ball is always going to get wet and you're going to have to grip the ball a little bit more than normal, which is absolutely fine. But the thing is that as that ball keeps getting played, that ball's going to dry up anyway, and then it's not going to be as much. Maybe for the beginning, like first couple minutes or so, maybe it might, like, maybe it might not be as wet. But yeah, I kind of agree. It is kind of bad sportsmanship. Now, the question is it illegal to do? There's a good chance it is. I don't know if it is, but I think there's a good chance it is, because you're technically tampering with the ball. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is new information that's just come to me. Todd Smith actually took the ball off the Cowboys trainer, which was Mitchell Dunn, who was doing that, by the way. And that was just before the Golden Point kick off. So yeah, I think it's quite interesting. I think it's a bit of an interesting debacle. I found it funny because I thought, like, Penrith were under strike, but then you find out the Cowboys do it. I'm like, okay. I guess there was also a video I watched the other day where it was like, there was a video the other day that was posted online. It was like, the question becomes, you ask the other team, like, if the other team did that, would you have a problem with it? If they say no, play on. And then I would say, okay, that's bad sportsmanship, but play on, I guess. But in also saying that, if the other team said yes, then it should be illegal. Yes. I think it was the Bloke podcast that they were talking about. But yeah, and also, yes, ball tampering as well. It is definitely interesting. It is definitely ball tampering, and 100% I agree with that. Now, I don't know if it's illegal. I don't know if it is. I have a funny feeling it is, but I don't know if it's in the rule book. I don't think it's interesting. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this, if I'm being honest. I do believe, are the NRL investigating this right now? It is a controversy, but the question is, have the NRL actually started investigating this? I haven't heard anything right now. So Pancake says, looks like the sandpaper scandal in 2018. 2018, Australia versus South Africa, second test match in cricket. Australians are caught tampering with the cricket ball with sandpaper. Wow, that's absolutely insane. Yeah. I think also in cricket, the ball is very, very important. Which obviously the ball is really important in rugby league as well. So I think there's a lot of, like, I don't really know how to go about this situation. I feel like I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I would understand why people would see it as cheating, but at the same time, like, who cares? Like, I don't really know, like. But I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, it is cheating. I know my thoughts were all over the place there, but quite honestly, I think tampering with the ball could actually have some serious issues. And I'm not just changing my opinion. I have just been trying to process this. I'm like, okay, who cares? Who doesn't? I don't know. But I think also when I saw Penrith do it, I was like, oh, Penrith are going to be in so much trouble. But then I saw the Cowboys do it, and I'm like, Well, hang on a minute. And here's another question as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there are more trainers that do that, if I'm being completely honest. And the thing is that if you go into like archives of the NRL, especially in 2020, like they were wetting the ball all the time, and you didn't really see any effect of it until when it was. You don't really see any effect of wetting the ball is. Obviously, if you're doing, I don't know, it's quite weird because I remember when 2020 started, they were actually putting the ball in a bucket of water just to clean the ball. And obviously the ball just gets, like, the ball's going to be wet. Now, the question is, does that impact the ball and how, like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot to kind of think about this, honestly. I would say it is cheating. I think I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, though, because I feel like I have a funny feeling there's more to it. I have a funny feeling there's more to it. Yeah, but the wetting the ball was mandatory because of the virus. Yeah, absolutely. But did it impact the actual play of the ball? Did it actually impact the game itself? I don't think it did. No, because in 2020, after wetting the ball, they dried it. Did they actually do that? Hold on, I have to see this. Mm-hmm. Manly's coronavirus defense. Oh, okay, I've seen it. Okay, that's fair, but yeah, the stadiums will wash the SU soap by official handed the ball who are wearing rubber gloves. Hygiene is really important. Now, the question is, would they dry? I don't see anything about drying it. And they take the disinfect falls. Oh, they did dry it. Yep, okay. In that case, then they ate it after. That's disgusting. Yeah, oh my God. Okay. All right. Pancake, I actually am going to agree with you there. All right, then. All right, okay. Then I will say it is cheating. I do think if they have to do it. By the way, I also want to point out, when you dry a ball, you're not going to get every single little bubble of water off that ball. But does it matter if you get every bubble? You're still drying the ball. So yeah, honestly, it's interesting. Honestly, Pancake, you've swayed me. I do believe it is cheating. And I have to repeat myself just to make sure. But yeah. Talking about coronavirus in 2025. Holy crap. That was so 5 years ago. Oh man. So you guys okay. So what do you guys think? You guys want to say anything else in terms of the in terms of this topic? Because I'm quite interested to see. I think a lot of people are split down the middle. I think this is a very more split down the middle topic than people realize as well. Probably wiped it over and over again with the same towel. Yeah, true. Yeah, true. That probably did happen. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Like, yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird to see that. I find it weird that a lot of players are very like. Oh, I find it very weird that this is more split down the middle than people realize. Sorry, I didn't mean to lie. I am just spazzing my words today, and I really apologize for that. Wetting the ball is just poor sportsmanship and illegal in the NRL's code of conduct. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I keep forgetting the NRL code of conduct actually. I keep forgetting that actually exists. Conduct. There's nothing in here about wet. Maybe I'm being dumb. Nope. Coach. There's a coach. Match officials, team and club officials. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think it's actually like on the page itself, but I don't think it shows positivity. So I definitely kind of agree with that statement, Lucas. But yeah, that definitely brings back COVID times, and quite honestly, it's weird to kind of see that. But yeah, is there any final statements on that? I'm kind of interested. I feel like, again, like, it's weird to see this being more split than I realize. Ball tampering 2 is simple. Yeah. All right. Let me put this out to you, chat. If a trainer came along and was like about to give the player a water bottle, and then suddenly what he does is that he pulls out a knife and then takes the ball and just goes, and for those who are listening on Spotify, I've just cut the ball open and then just lets all the air out and then just hands it back to the player. And then the ref says, play on. Just he wouldn't do that, you know, but he says that. Is that ball tamper? Is that cheating? Clearly it is. Clearly it's cheating. Like, why? If anyone says it's not cheating, what the heck? Play on. Just play on. Yeah, I've left my chat speechless by that. Look, if they dried it, no problems. If not, yeah, stoppage of play. Yeah, true. That's another point. I didn't even think about that, Pancake. That is actually breaking down play. So quite honestly, that is interesting. Yeah, that is definitely a good point. They would go into a mental hospital for doing that. Yeah, well, they'd probably be like punched. I don't know. Clearly it is cheating. Oh, man. Assault with a deadly weapon. Oh no, he killed the ball. Oh, okay. Sorry about this, guys. I have a very squeaky microphone arm. But we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to hide this logo. So, actually no, I'll keep it in so you guys actually know where it's coming from. But so now we're going to move on to the next part of the podcast. And by the way, if you guys are from YouTube, because this is actually going to be turned into a YouTube video, hello, appreciate you joining. You've already seen the intro. I've filmed it before the podcast had even begun. We just talked about the whole Penrith caught red-handed and Cowboys caught red-handed with the ball. So we're coming off a little bit off that. But guys, it is time for me to go through my top 5 things that I believe that Rugby League 26 needs. And I'm going to kind of explain each one in a little bit more detail. And honestly, I think some of these, 1, are realistic, 2 are realistic, but I don't know if they would do it, or 3, a bit of a pipe dream. And quite honestly, some of these we can have a bit of a pipe dream, so why the heck not? All right. So the first thing that we really need in Rugby League 26, and I think, honestly, 2 of these kind of link in together a little bit, but not at the same time, is crossplay. Now, the reason I am specifying crossplay in 2025, yes, crossplay is almost the standard in gaming right now. But have the recent games for Big Ant have had this? AFL 26, I'm still not 100% certain, but I do know that Rugby 25 does not have it. Crossplay is not actually present in Big Ant games. And I think Rugby League 26 is the best opportunity to do this. I think crossplay should be a standard for gaming at this point. And honestly, I would love to play with my friends on the Switch while I play from PC. And honestly, I don't want to have to go and get like multiple versions of the game just to play with certain people. Because quite honestly, I feel like that is very annoying. Now, the thing is that if we upload stuff to the Fan Hub, which we'll get into customization shortly, but we can go and download our stuff off the Fan Hub, which is absolutely fine. But the tediousness of Fan Hub too, that's another thing. This is why I believe we need crossplay. I think crossplay is very, very important. And I think it is definitely needed as probably the most needed feature in Rugby League 26. Sorry. By the way, guys, speaking of scans, Melbourne Storm got done today. So they're still scanning teams. And I believe the Cowboys haven't been done. And I think 2 of the Sydney teams haven't been done yet. So That's interesting. You want to play with me on the Switch? Yeah, Pancake's definitely one person I'd want to play on the Switch. Like, there you go. There's a few other people I'd also want to play with on the Switch. I would say crossplay is probably one of my more realistic requests, but also there's a good chance it probably won't happen. My second wish list for a feature, and this is an interesting one. You guys are going to say, what are you on? And quite honestly, I think this is going to happen. Stat customization. Now, this is basically taking what Rugby League 24 had and running with it. Now, I believe AFL 26 and Rugby 25 did have this feature, so there is a very good chance that Rugby League 26 is going to have it. But I'm putting it on my wish list because, honestly, I would love to see the Simulation Rugby League. And if you guys don't know what that is, Simulation Rugby League is where you can build your own character. Hashtag be the player. I've done it before. I've promoted it. It's really, really cool. And we can actually go ahead and actually make our own players for the game itself. Now, I believe Simulation Rugby League's got a lot to do if they want to start using the new game, and there is stat customization. But honestly, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot for stat customization because honestly, I think there's going to be new statistics outside of the ones we had for Rugby League Live 4. And I definitely think there's going to be a little bit more boost as well. I feel like there's going to be a lot more deeper. There's going to be a lot more deeper stuff. There's going to be a lot more deeper customization with Rugby League 26 compared to Rugby League Live 4. So, but I think stat customization is definitely something that is really important. And I'm not just talking for customizable players, which obviously it's going to have it for customizable players. I'm talking about as well for the star players as well, like Nathan Cleary's, Kalen Ponga's, Ryan Pappenhausen, all of those players. The reason I'm saying this is because if we have to go another 10 years without a video game, we need some way to make sure we can keep our stats updated. So that's why I'm putting stat customization as number 2. Cricket 24 had that feature. Are you talking about crossplay? I'm still waiting for the Nathan Cleary player scans. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Nathan Cleary and Ivan Cleary have been scanned, so that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, wait, which feature are you talking about? The crossplay or the stat customization? If you're saying crossplay, then obviously it might not be as far stretched as possible. Hold on. Let me see if AFL 26 actually has crossplay. No, there's nothing about crossplay in AFL 26, which I'm kind of concerned about. No, nothing about crossplay. I'm a bit concerned about that, if I'm being honest. Actually, I'll search it. I'm searching it. I wanna see if they've got it. No, nothing about crossplay. Import SVG images. Yeah, that's another thing as well. You want to import your own logos. Cricket 24 has crossplay. So if Cricket 24 has it, there's a very good chance Rugby League 26 could have it. But the question is, I need to know if AFL 26 has it. If AFL 26 has it, then crossplay is definitely something that I really, really want for Rugby League 26. Let's go to number 3, and this is an interesting one. You guys might be a little bit... The only reason I'm saying this is because this in Rugby League Live 4 was atrocious. And it needs to be significantly improved. Andrew Abdo said it's going to be significantly improved, so I'm going to take his word for it. But we need a smooth online experience. Now, I'm not just talking about, like, obviously we're going to have the pro team, and also we're potentially going to have ranked matches as well. But if you just want to jump into a casual match, or even having a customized match with your friends' teams that they built, like your 99 overall ratings and stuff like that, we need to have a much more smoother career mode. And quite honestly, a smoother online experience. Now, I'm going to put my hand up right now and say I have only played Rugby League Live 4 online once. And that is because every time outside of that time I have played Rugby League Live 4 online, it has been absolutely atrocious. And quite honestly, you just have people doing cheese tries. You're just having people running around being silly. And quite honestly, I don't want that for the Rugby League 26, because quite honestly, it's going to make it's going to look sour. And obviously, this is a problem in any other games. This is going to be a problem in any game that you play in the future, obviously. Yeah, honestly, we need a smooth online experience, and I guess crossplay kind of like links into this as well. But quite honestly, we need a bit more of a smoother online experience. And obviously, I want to face you guys in Rugby League 26. The reason I haven't been doing Rugby League 24 videos online, Rugby League Live 4 videos, and playing you guys, it's because it's not fun. And I don't like playing that stuff. So honestly, a smooth online experience. And if it is good, I will play you guys online. I will make a promise right now. Okay, the fourth feature that I really want, and quite honestly, this one I feel like out of all of the big ant games that they have done, this I feel is the most relevant to Rugby League, and that is a custom team career mode. You have the ability to create your own team, and you can build it from the ground up. So you build the management, you build the team list, you build your train and trial and stuff. Honestly, just building on the in-depth career mode that AFL 26 had. I feel like this is a very good opportunity for the NRL or the Rugby League game to do this. You go ahead, you choose, I want to create a new team. You go ahead and pick like the coach. You go ahead and pick the logo. Like you do all your customization for your team as you normally do. And quite honestly, it's just a lot better. Honestly, it's going to be a lot smoother just to put a new team in. I don't actually think you can play as a new team in AFL 26. So that kind of raised some red flags, and that's kind of why I put this on. And quite honestly, we need to we need a way to build a team, and honestly, it leads to some really interesting content. Like and first of all, the reason I say this is really interesting, though, like I feel like this relates to Rugby League 26 a lot more than the other big ant games. 2027, we have the Perth Bears coming in, and in 2028, we have the Papua New Guinea team coming in. We have 2 new teams on the way. This is your opportunity to add a new team, like to create a team-based career mode. You can do it for X amount of years. You can make it limited, but so you create the team, it gets put into the NRL. It's a bit of a customized experience, so it's a bit different from the regular NRL season. And then you build your team list from the ground up. You use the first year to build your top 30, and then you use the subsequent years to play as the new team, recruit new players, and do all that stuff. And AFL 26 had an in-depth career mode. This is the opportunity to build upon that. And I think customization of custom team career mode is the perfect way to go. And the final feature that I want in Rugby League 26 is I want a story mode. This is a pipe dream. And quite honestly, this is probably never going to happen, but a story mode. I know career mode kind of acts as a story mode, but at the same time, I want a story mode where you embody your own character, and then you kind of go through a bit of an experience as an NRL player. You start from rookie and go all the way up to immortal. I know career mode does it, but I'm talking about an in-depth story mode where you like have people that you rely on. Like you need to play it well. You have like a system. Like there's a lot to it, and it's just a story of a brand new, like it is a story of a rookie player going up to an immortal. Maybe you could do it with an existing player, maybe Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Andrew Johns, if you want to go that route, Arthur Beetson, like old style stuff. But that's like old, like you'd have to do like old stuff. And quite honestly, it's There's a lot you could do with story mode. I think this is definitely a pipe dream, but it's definitely out there. And I think, again, like the NRL do a lot with stories and stuff. And I think definitely other sports do this as well. But this is another good opportunity that you can do. And yeah, I think that is going to do it. So to revise, my top 5 features for Rugby League 26, crossplay, stat customization, a smooth online experience, a custom team career mode, and a story mode. That is what I want for Rugby League 26. Now, we're actually going to jump into the YouTube chat right now, and we're going to see some of the features that people have kind of come up with. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and look. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to my mod Pancake. He's actually been talking about Cricket 24. Cricket 24 is another Big Ant game. So he's been kind of validating some of my wish lists a little bit, and that includes crossplay and stat customization, which stat customization I knew is potentially going to be in there anyway, so I'm kind of excited for that. But crossplay is definitely huge. If Cricket 24 has it, then there's no reason why Rugby League 26 shouldn't have it. There shouldn't be any reason why AFL 26 shouldn't have it. AFL 26 has ranked matches, online crossplay. Just sent you 2 things. Forgot online. Wait, what? I have options to change and fully customize the scoreboard. I think that'll be a modern thing. Oh, by the way, apparently Would-Be Inter is going to be coming back to create tools for the Rugby League 26 game. So that's really exciting. Yeah, I'm the spokesperson for Cricket 24. I want to do a story mode so I can play as Nathan Cleary. What about a story mode where you can go back in time to another grand final or something and recreate it? That would be pretty cool. That would be more of a legacy mode. I think legacy mode would be really cool. SJ is set to coach Matt Footy in Rugby League 26. That would be really cool. Another feature that I've just probably thought of, this is like a really minor feature, is you could potentially have coaches, like you can potentially choose your coach. So like obviously in AFL 23 and 26, you actually saw the coach on the field and actually giving instructions to the player. You saw them at half time. You did like all of the stuff that like you see them do all the stuff that coaches do. But I feel like I don't think you can actually choose what coach is actually coaching your team. So quite honestly, I said it again, I'm sorry. I think there needs to be a little bit more with the coaches in the Rugby League 26. BRB. Oh man, I'm just like out of breath a little bit. Create your own coach. I like that, but why not make it so you can create your own player and then age them into a coach? That's another cool thing. Obviously, Ivan Cleary for me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how cool will it be like to have like a lot of coaches in there? Like if you had the option to have a customizable coach, like you create your own coach and stuff. By the way, I just want to point out in Rugby League in Rugby League Live 4, you can customize the referee. So this is definitely not out of the question. Why not make it so you can customize a coach and upload it to the academy? I think by the way, when I say academy, that is actually the fan hub, and that's what they call it in AFL 26. I just also want to say, why not just upload coaches? So you can actually have like past coaches, like you can have Kevin Walters, Justin Holbrook, Anthony Seibold if you really want to. You could have Brad Arthur. Like you have all of these different coaches. Craig Bellamy in 26, raging and not smiling would be hilarious. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's going to do it for my features for Rugby League 26. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and comment down below who I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you think Rugby League 26 is going to have? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Toodles, I'm not ending the potty, okay? We still got a lot to go. I also want to see realistic cinematics. Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I think we're still a few years off of that. And quite honestly, I just also want to say this, and I think I said this in the I kind of want to say this. I said this in the other video. In the video earlier this week. I don't like what Andrew Voss said about the game, because now it's put unnecessary pressure on Big Ant, which I don't really like. But yeah, that's basically it. Is there anything other comments that you guys want to get into? Because I'm gonna get into my tips and predictions for round 11 of the 2025 season. And by the way, I just want you guys to know this is the final round before Origin. So this will be an interesting round. That's nice that you want to play at Rugby League 26 with us. I'm just praying it comes out on the Switch too and supports full online play. Others, then I'll just buy a PS5. Commentary options. I think commentary options are definitely a good idea. I would love to see Dan Ganane in the game. I think that would be really interesting. You just hear that like he's goodbye. I think quite honestly that would be really, really, really cool. The fan is almost on. Yeah. All right, well, guys, let's get into our upcoming tips and predictions for round 11. So the first game of the NRL round 11 is the Newcastle Knights versus the Parramatta Eels at McDonald Jones Stadium. This is actually a really hard one to tip. The Knights went down to the Titans last week in a second half demolition from the Titans, but the Eels actually were able to maintain their grip against the Dolphins. I feel like you're coming up against I feel like this is inconsistency versus someone who is building consistency. I have a good feeling that I've got a good feeling Parramatta are going to get up for this game. And who better to get up for this game than Mitchell Moses? Mitchell Moses is proving himself for a number 6 or number 7 jersey for the State of Origin. This is the round to do it. While Kalen Ponga and Dane Gagai are trying to prove for the Queensland jersey. This is a really hard game to tip, but I think I am going to give this team their first win in a while, and I'm actually going to tip the Parramatta Eels 1-12. I think Moses gets up for this. I think Moses gets up for this game. I think it'll be close. I think Ponga and Dane Gagai will do really well. This is also Dane Gagai's 300th, so that is a milestone game, so that's really cool. And yeah, so let's get into the next game. Also, just want to point out, these games actually start on Friday, not on Thursday. Thursday will be the Women's State of Origin at Allianz Stadium. So now we're going to a core stadium, and it is now the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs versus the Sydney Roosters. Now, the Bulldogs actually went down to the Raiders 20-0 in the first half, but came back in the second half from a Raiders collapse, 32-20. While the Sydney Roosters are actually coming off a bye. So quite honestly, this is going to be a really hard game to tip. I have a funny feeling a lot of players in these both teams are also going to be proving their origin. Position. So I definitely think this is going to be a very competitive game. Now, Bulldogs are the favorites for this game. However, I'm actually going to tip an upset here, and I'm actually going to go Roosters 1-12. I think the Bulldogs do have it in them to win, and I think they're going to keep it close. But I think the Roosters actually have a bit more points in them, if I'm being completely honest. So I'm actually going to tip the Roosters 1-12. I'm probably going to be sitting on next week's podcast eating soap at one point because tipping, and honestly, I've just given up at tipping at this point. So quite honestly, I don't know I don't know what the Roosters are cooking up. And quite honestly, no, you know what? I don't know what 2025 is cooking up. So you know what? I'm just going to ride with the flow. So then we head on over to Suncorp Stadium. This is the Saturday game. This is the Dolphins v the New Zealand Warriors at Suncorp Stadium. So what's interesting is that there is an interesting statistic with this game, and quite honestly, apparently people want me to look at something. What is this? What are you doing? Like, what is going on? Okay, guys, I'm gonna make a PDA. I need to stop checking Discord. So guys, can you please stop? Yeah, please don't do that. Yeah. That is so weird. Matt, do you want to know your last? Yeah, rugby, please don't. Yeah, so, guys, can we please stop? Yeah, anyway. Look, starting off with the Dolphins actually have a really good track record at Suncorp Stadium at the moment. They've actually won their last few games, although they did go down to the Roosters at Magic Round. And quite honestly, I think that was a bit of a shock. The Roosters also, that's kind of why I tipped the Roosters in the last game, because their game against the Dolphins, they just showed consistency against each other. But the Warriors actually welcome back. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Warriors actually welcome back James Fisher-Harris and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who is actually in the reserves, but he could actually be making a return. So that is very interesting. He's lurking in the reserves. I have a funny feeling he will. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if he'll play or not. And by the way, I just want to point out the Warriors have a lot of last names that have hyphens in them. But James Fisher-Harris is definitely a huge inclusion for the Warriors. On the Dolphins side, I think there isn't anyone notable in here. I think Junior Tupo's in the reserve. So quite honestly, this is going to be a really interesting game. I'm going to tip, only because James Fisher-Harris is back, I'm going to say the Warriors 1-12. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins win this game. So Warriors 1-12. I do think the Dolphins will get up for this game though. So they're going to keep it close. Then we're going to head on over to Queensland Country Bank Stadium. It is the Cowboys versus the Seagulls. This is 6v8, and there's not really any big ins or outs for the for both teams. However, Jackson Prude comes into 5'8". Tom Dearden will be wearing the 7 for Cowboys. So this will be quite interesting to see how this goes. Jake Clifford and Thomas Duffy get dropped to the reserves. Jake Clifford has actually been put ahead of Thomas Duffy. So that'll be quite interesting to see that. And honestly, the Cowboys have actually been I know they actually only got the draw last week, but quite honestly, I think they kind of proved themselves a little bit. I think Cowboys are actually going to be competing for a final spot this year. So I'm actually going to tip the Cowboys for this one. There's a lot of concern coming out of Manly as well. Apparently DC, they are just not being as... Now, if they cannot win at if they can't win at 4 Pines Park against the Sharks, then I think we have a bit of a concern here. And quite honestly, I think the Cowboys are going to get up this game. I'm only going to tip it 1-12, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout. So Cowboys 1-12. And now what I think is actually game of the round, we have at Shark Stadium in Sydney, we have the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks versus the Melbourne Storm. Wow, this is a bit of a harder game to tip. I joke, obviously. Now, this is a really easy one. Now, Thomas Hazelton is out. And I don't know who comes in. I think Daniel Atkinson. No, Atkinson is not in. No. Tom Hazelton is actually out. So that's kind of a concerning out for the Cronulla Sharks. While the Storm still have their main reserves. But lurking in the reserves is Harry Grant, their skipper. If Harry Grant plays this game, this could be a 13+ thrashing. However, I'm going to keep it close because I definitely think the Sharks are going to be a lot more competitive than the Tigers were. I'm going to pick the Storm 1-12 for now. However, if Harry Grant plays, I will tip them 13+. Now, coming to Suncorp Stadium. Oh my God, this is a really hard game to tip, if I'm being completely honest. The Brisbane Broncos versus the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now, the Broncos are the heavy favorites for this one, but the Dragons are also not heavy favorites as well. Now, here's the concerning fact: is that the Dragons actually were pretty decent in the second half last round against the Warriors, so there is a very good chance that they could get up for this game. But Broncos have one big in; they have a big out as well. So the big out for the Brisbane Broncos is Ben Hunt, but making his 2025 debut in round 11 is Ezra Mam. He is back in the 6 jersey after a good performance in the Queensland Cup, I might add. And quite honestly, the Broncos are almost at their full-powered side. The only player that they are actually missing right now is Reece Walsh. And I'm not saying this, because honestly, that is the only player they are missing. If Ben Hunt is fit, he'll probably play hooker. And quite honestly, when Ben Hunt comes back, this is going to be really interesting for the Broncos. How are they going to play Ben Hunt? Are they going to put Billy Walters to 9? Or are they going to put Ben Hunt to 9? Who's going to play the 14? There's going to be a lot of questions asked about the Broncos. And I'm going to also say this as well. I am struggling to tip this team. Like, I am actually struggling to tip a team right now for this game. I have already picked one, but the amount of thinking I had to go back and forth for this team, for this tip was really, really hard. I am reluctantly tipping the Broncos to win 1-12. I think they need to bounce back from the last 2 games. I think this is the game to do it. However, the reason I am being reluctant is because this is an afternoon game. Broncos don't do well in the afternoon. And quite honestly, the Dragons they're just not that consistent. So I just don't know if they will show up or they won't. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot that you can say about this game. But I'm going to tip the Broncos. I'm going to tip my boys to get it done. So I'm going to tip Broncos 1-12. Probably going to win by 50 now that I've said that, actually. And now off to Canberra. This is another easy game to tip. It is the Canberra Raiders versus the Gold Coast Titans. This is going to be a really interesting game to tip. One big in for the Titans is Kieran Foran. Kieran Foran is now playing. He's actually playing from the bench, so he's going to be playing from 14. And quite honestly, this game could go. No, actually, it's not going to go either way. I think the Raiders are going to dominate here, and I actually think after round 11, I think the Bulldogs are going to be second on the ladder, and I think the Raiders are going to be at top. So I'm going to tip the Raiders 13+ for this game. So Canberra Raiders, Gold Coast Titans, Canberra Raiders 13+. And the final game, this is another hard game to tip. I'm just going to say it's the West Tigers versus the Rabbitohs at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. There is a big in for the Rabbitohs, and that is Alex Johnston. But Funua Pole is also out for the Tigers, and Starfatoa does come in, so he will be playing center. The question is, how do the Tigers respond from their thumping against Storm last week? I'm just going to say this. I have a funny feeling this is going to be a defining game for Latrell Mitchell. You thought he was good in the Broncos game. Wait till you see him in this game. I reckon he's going to score 3 tries. I'm just going to say that. So I'm going to tip Rabbitohs 1-12. I think Tigers do keep it competitive, but the Rabbitohs, Latrell Mitchell just adds so much to that side. And quite honestly, this is going to be a really, really hard game to tip. So my final tips are Eels 1-12, Roosters 1-12, Warriors 1-12, Cowboys 1-12, Storm 1-12 if Harry Grant plays 13+, Broncos 1-12, Raiders 13+, and Rabbitohs 1-12. So that's going to do it for the Scrum tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I seriously appreciate you all. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for lending me your ears. I really appreciate it. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We upload weekly. We're doing a lot of Rugby League 26 videos. We're doing some fixture showdowns. Tomorrow we have a funny fixture showdown coming out. I've actually had a bit of fun with it, so I'm really excited to share this one. And quite honestly, it's going to be a really good one. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Seriously appreciate you all as always. And check out Fixture Showdown tomorrow, and I will see you next week for the next episode of The Scrum. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Toodles!